Gentlemen, we start the session. The topic is It's a Smart World After All, the role of IoT in buildings, education, healthcare, manufacturing, utilities, and beyond. For this session, we have our moderator, Dr. Rishi Bhatnagar, President, Aeris. May I call him up on the desk, please? Dr. Rishi Mohan Bhatnagar is an international speaker and thought leader in the Internet of Things and digital space. He has co-authored the book Enterprise IoT along with a team from Bosch. He is the recipient of IoT CEO of the Year, consequently for the years 221 and 220 at the National Awards for Excellence in Technology. Under the category of ET Now, Business Leader of the Year, Voice and Data, Leadership Recognition Award, India 2019. Currently, he is the president of Aeris Communication, Dr. Rishi Bhatnagar. May I call upon the other speakers? Dr. Alotna De, Senior Vice President, CTO, Samsung India. Mr. Vinay Solanki, Head of Digital Solutions and General Manager, Napino Auto and Electronics Limited. Mr. Sridhar Pandey, MD, Elikorev Ramway India Private Limited. Mr. Mukesh Sinha, Managing Partner, Innovative Infratech Solutions Private Limited. And Mr. Sanjit Tiwari, GM, Ligman Lighting Company Limited. Well, I would like to hand over everything to Dr. Bhatnagar to conduct the session.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Alok is there virtually with us. And good afternoon, Alok. How are you? Yeah, so I just wanted to check whether the connectivity is working or not. So, thank you. So, welcome everybody, and I'm really very thankful to all of you to be here. Post lunch is the most difficult session, and I really don't know, was it a choice of giving this to us or to make it interesting and keeping all of you awake? But thank you very much for being here. It's really a pleasure and honor for all of us to be part of this session. The topic is too vast, to be honest. How IoT, role of IoT in buildings, education, healthcare, manufacturing, utilities, and beyond. For such a vast topic, we'll try to see justice with the time which we have been allotted and see if it can be of any learning or something which you can learn more from this session. Usually whenever I start my such kind of sessions, I start with a small thought process which is going to take us to a very different world. Okay. If I ask you, when was the mankind arrived on this earth? Very different topic from IoT. Okay. Because it's not a session for teaching or learning, it's 11,000 years back when the mankind first arrived on this earth. But when was the first revolution took place? Okay. It took place in 1800s when the Industrial Revolution started. When was the second revolution took place? The second revolution took place in 1990s when the communication, IT, internet, everything started. And today when the Internet of Things, when the hardware is joining hands with the connectivity and the IT, and the service industry is joining hands with the manufacturing industry, that's the time the third revolution is. Now let us compare these three times. Okay. The first analogy is when the first revolution took place, it took 11,000 years. But the second revolution took place only in 150 years. And the third revolution took place in only 25 years. So the human brain is maturing. And we'll see that after IoT, there is an AI, then there is a blockchain, then there is a cryptocurrency, then there is this, that. That means the human brain is trying to find new things every day. So in our lifetime, assuming you all were born before 1990, we have already seen 2 revolutions. So get ready for more revolutions. Because the emerging world and the emerging technology is changing every day, and the human mind is maturing much faster now than we had. The second thing is, when the first revolution took place, we were under the British rule. So nobody told that there is a manufacturing plant coming in Nottingham to generate thousands of kilometers of cloth every day. and all the charkhawalas will lose their jobs. But that happened. But in the second revolution, we had our own government. They told us something is coming, they trained us, and the whole 160 billion US dollar IT industry of India is a result of that second revolution. But that second revolution didn't provide many of the entrepreneur leaders in India to get an investment, get an environment, get an infrastructure to create a unicorn. So Twitter happened, Facebook happened, Google happened, Microsoft happened, everything happened in Silicon Valley. But who did it? Those people who ran away from the country, couldn't find the infrastructure at that time and created those unicorns there. But in today's third revolution, we are getting skilled. We are getting Startup India. We are getting Stand Up India. And we have already created 11 unicorns. That means we are on the right time. And this is what is beyond the IoT and beyond. Okay. So it's a revolution. We are in the time of revolution. We are seeing many things happening every day. And during this 90 minutes of our session, which I've already taken 5 minutes of it, we have, Alok from Samsung, Vinay coming from Nepono, which is the auto and electronics company, Sridhar, who is the managing director for Eleccorev Ramway India Limited, which is in the battery manufacturing and many other things. And then we also have Sanjay, who is from Ligman Lightning, and Mukesh, who is the managing partner for Innovative Infratech Solution, which is focusing more on the healthcare. So we have a person from healthcare, we have a Samsung person who is everywhere, and we have lightning, we have battery, we have auto. So it will be a good discussion, and I'm sure there will be something which we'll be able to talk, which you might be able to learn and take it as a learning from here. Let me start from Alok first, and that will be a check of the connectivity also, Alok, so that everybody can hear or not. So we have been together in many other panels, me and Alok. So it's a pleasure to have you here. Alok, next 5 minutes, I'll request you to say a few words about what is happening and what you think about, and then we are going to give to the other panelists. Yeah.
Sure.
Please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I hear a bit of echo, but I hope can adjust to that. So great to see so many people are physically joining there. And it also means with 1 year passing by, things are changing. We all are making sure with some cautions. And there is a lot of IoT technology around this COVID-19 itself that has evolved. So thank you again for Convergence India. I have always enjoyed physically going there in Pragati Maidan and sensing a bit of it. This time could not make it. Dr. Rishi has given you a broad landscape and how these revolutions and shortening of the period that is happening in those revolutions, but also in the product, we see that kind of changes that are coming. So next 5 minutes, I'm quickly taking you through some of our activities and how we have evolved into these IoT dimensions. You all know about Samsung products, whether it is mobile or wearables and TV, so I'm not getting into that. And we are making sure day by day that they are becoming intelligent. Even though IoT comes, but each of these devices are becoming intelligent in their own right. And then, as in the beginning, started making sure that two of them talk to each other in a very strong fashion. There is some kind of friendship and partnerships that are there between mobile and PC, mobile and wearables, mobile and TV, now the buds these days, all of these we could do that. So quick pairing, how to do easy onboarding, how do you share contents. If I'm looking at movie in my mobile and I reach home, I suddenly could flash on the TV. That was our first kind of journey. The second thing that we build is a bigger network, and we call Smart Things as a platform. And very soon I'm going to share our Forbes one interview with VP Jae-Yoon Jung, who is heading these Smart Things globally, and we have been contributing significantly from India. We are looking into how devices could directly connect to the cloud, how hub can be there directly from device to hub to cloud, and between clouds that you could do. For example, smart building we've been talking, if you have a building and a parking lot next to each other, it can be two different clouds, one on smart things, one on some private cloud, but we have defined the UCI, cloud to cloud interface, so that you can, structured way, you can talk to each other through these clouds. So this has been a second journey whereby we connected many devices, and so far in our Smart Things Cloud, we have about 150 million devices, Samsung's own devices, but also doorbell, surveillance cameras, speakers from other vendors that are also part of our ecosystem. The third thing, when we do this, why we do all of these connected devices, is basically we can do some kind of automation. That's the whole IoT journey. And I say IFTTT, if this then that, and you can have a bed sensor, and as soon as you wake up, the bed sensor says that it's in a different state, and you could turn on your coffee machine or you could turn on the geysers. So if this then that, and that's how we can proliferate and the automations can grow. And I could say definitely IoTBT and IoT connectivity is bringing that automation significantly. Then thereafter, we go into next leg and we say, can I add AI? At the individual device level we have done, but AIoT, we hear, if this then that, but at this clause, can I even have more elaborate algorithm? With the machine learning and sensing, for example, I said sensor, bed sensor, but if it's not a simple switch on off, and if I have a wearables, maybe wearable has an algorithm health, which is monitoring whether you are sleeping or not. And then thereafter, it's turning on certain feature. So if you have a deeper algorithm, and if you have multiple conditions and or, you could make it much more interesting and very contextual. That's how the AIoT has arrived with this sensor technology. And I take it from there further, it's not just about sensor technology, this artificial intelligence, the augmented intelligence could come from voice enablement, because we don't always talk about touch sensors, and we are talking contactless these days in many cases. So voice is a very nice way to connect. You have other kind of gestures. You can have video surveillance at home, in industries. You can monitor your different chambers, and you could decide based on that what to happen next. The data intelligence that is there is another kind of intelligence. Initially it started with prescriptive mode, but we can't go prescriptive, too difficult, but at least predictive mode. And just to give an example, if you have some of these or digital appliances at home, I could give a warning that this variant here, this is going down, and can you take it from there and maybe order some devices, some spare parts to take it forward. If it is an industrial IoT, some valves maybe in critical situations, then you could shut down this. There are enough examples of predictive analytics helping in these domains and even growing business from that. And the last point we want to highlight in this round is growing from there. We talked a little bit of building, a little bit of healthcare analytics and all of these intelligence, but we are talking smart manufacturing. And recently, a week back, not just Samsung, but we have also partnered with IBM, and we did this. IBM, Samsung, and M1 is an operator in Singapore. And this is where we put 5G technology, because that comes from Samsung, and IBM brings this hybrid cloud, and both of us have their AI in their respective places. With that advanced 5G connectivity and AI and hybrid cloud, Industry 4.0 solutions, how can we integrate? Just to give you a little glimpse of that, for example, you can have visual analytics, visual recognitions, and IBM has a special tool called Maximo Visual Inspections. You could check the defects online real time. And if it is going bad, you could stop that product, discard that product, and not build the whole product when there is a part already detected as defective. You could bring acoustic insight, some odd kind of sounds coming from servers, and you could take it out and say, okay, it needs repairing. You can have an augmented reality kind of scenario whereby, certain things could be emulated or augmented. You have a guided vehicles, collaborative robotic hand. You can take picture of the whole data center if you want to take. You can bring your AI models onto the edge server, deploy it. If you want security, you can build your container-based applications. So at the end, in all, you can have a 5G end-to-end solutions for industry. And in fact, in 2018, 1st December, Samsung launched first B2B, not in the right form factor of the device, but we started with this industrial applications. Can we detect defects online? And from there, today, with RAN, core, and all of these cloud technologies, we have been able to showcase in Singapore a week back how the industry 4.0 could work along with the artificial intelligence. So I think I'll stop here and hear others, and then if you have questions, we'll come back. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alok. It was such a wonderful, journey you have shown how the technology has moved and where it is moving, and how Samsung kind of organization, which is so huge, has so many solutions in different fields, whether it's building, healthcare, manufacturing, utility, and industry. Now I like to request Vinay to speak something about the auto and electronic industry and how the IoT is moving, and what is your view?
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Dr. Rishi, and to the EIG management team for giving us an opportunity to talk about what we do. So briefly about myself, my name is Vinay Solanki. I'm in the industry for past 17 years, and out of that, last 7 and 8 years, I'm doing IoT. In short, I live, breathe, and smoke IoT, so I only understand nothing but IoT. Sometimes my child also calls me that I think you know more about IoT than about me. So coming to what we do, right, and why IoT is so interesting, I think Dr. Rishi touched upon the journey of revolution happening in the globe, and how the speed is improving. And also Mr. Alok from Samsung spoke about AIoT, which is a combination of IoT with artificial intelligence, and why it is so powerful. So if you look at IoT, I think today anywhere we see around us, there are some or other application of Internet of Things. Even in this conference hall, there are applications could be implemented as simple as social distancing, where there can be 2 Bluetooth tags given to each of you, and it will sound an alarm if you are crossing 2-meter distance from each other. Although we are not able to follow that throughout the hall. So coming to Napino, I currently head their division called as Napino Digital Solutions. Napino is a 23-year-old setup. We have been doing manufacturing as a full stack ODM for automotive industry for the past 23 years. We have our plants across India. We started in a joint venture with a Japanese company, and then slowly we started building other industry capability as well. Primarily we work with two-wheeler customers all across India, Europe, and US market, and also as tier 2 supplier to a lot of four-wheeler customers like BMW, Volkswagen, Audi, and so on. So Napino basically, given it's a manufacturing setup and an electronics manufacturing setup, it has been using a lot of technology for many, many years. Of course, the first one was SAP, which is used for multiple purpose, from order management to supply chain and other things. And then so some other tools, right? But if you look at IoT and especially Industry 4.0, or when we talk about, also we call it as industrial IoT, there are applications which the manufacturing facilities are picking up rapidly in India and outside India to support their customer better, right? A simple example, if you see, is that when you as a customer come to me and order your product, right? many of our customers, which are large setup, they would need to have a lot of transparency and visibility in what is happening on the line. They also want to do end-to-end part traceability. For example, if a part is coming from a particular country or from a particular grade, they want to know what is happening on the line when it is being assembled into their product. So we started adopting a solution from a company in Germany. The company name is Software AG, which is also someone that have their own IoT platform called as Cumulosity. But they also have this MES system, manufacturing execution system, which help us to do end-to-end part traceability all the way from our supplier to our store, then on our SMT lines, manufacturing lines, and then once the finished good goes to our customer, they are able to trace their components really well. So end-to-end traceability is important. And at the same time, we have also done adoption of IoT on our shop floor. So what we have done, and I think in India it is happening rapidly, but one area that we have really seen the application of IoT is in quality management and quality assurance. There are two aspects when you build any PCB today, right? One is like how well you mount and solder the components, and second is have you done the right component soldering. And we use computer vision there in partnership with a company, which help us to monitor the quality aspects in combination with the human being on the floor. In fact, Dr. Rishi touched on this, that when the revolution came to India, people were thinking that they will lose job. The people who were running the charkha. We had the same feedback from our people on the shop floor, that if the robots and computer cameras are coming, then what will happen to our job? Or what will happen to our skill set? And I think that's where we have also invested in reskilling them and upskilling them by collaborating with the government bodies and also with our vendors and so on. So I think when I talk about IoT, I can talk about it endless for hours. But when I look at IoT application in areas like manufacturing industry and automotive, right, which is where our customer base is. Manufacturing, I have covered an example. But when you come to automotive, I think the adoption of new technologies is very fast, rapid, and very relevant. If you look at basic example of IoT in automotive, there is telematics. Like many of you must have seen devices in this conference which you can put into your car, and it can monitor some of the parameters of your car while you're driving the car, right? Your speed, acceleration, braking, etc. That's a simple device. You plug it in, you have a mobile app, it has a SIM card, it uploads the data onto the cloud, and it gives you some capability, right? On the simple side. Then if you go to a bit too complex, more advanced solutions, there are ADAS. As at Napino, we have built an ADAS for our customer in US, Natradyne. ADAS stands for Advanced Driver Assistance Systems or Monitoring Systems. Actually, they go beyond. They start assisting a driver when they are basically driving the truck or a car, right? It's typically used by fleet operators and commercial fleet operators in the developed nations. They have a lot of compliances. They need to make sure that the driver is not sleeping or stooping or getting tired while they're driving, because that can result into accident, right? So ADAS can do multiple aspects like monitoring the driver, monitoring the vehicle or the surrounding, like whether there is tailgating or something going on. So we have done that as well. But now what we have seen from our electric vehicle customers is actually going beyond that, but putting IoT inside the vehicle, like monitoring the battery in real time. Battery is the most critical component of any electric vehicle, right? And you need to monitor the health of the battery, the temperature of the battery, vibration, the liquid level, the voltage, the current, other things. Otherwise, the EV won't run, right? And if you look at many of the cars on the road in India, from MG Hector EV, the electronic version of the MG, or even the hybrid vehicles by Maruti, they come with BMS inside them, battery management solution. Napino has built that also for their customers. We work with almost every EV company in India, from Ather to Ampere to Bounce. So I think IoT is really magical, I think. And when it is combined with AI, it can result and create a lot of useful application for the industry to adopt. What we are seeing, last point to close, I think you have seen the initiative by our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, and their team about Atmanirbhar Bharat. They recently announced a very important incentive the PLI, production linked incentive for the Indian manufacturing ecosystem, especially the electronics ecosystem, mobile industry, manufacturing industry, and other industry as well. And I think that that is a good initiative for players like us. We are a small company, 7,000 employees, 7 plants, 2,000 crore turnover. We are still growing, trying to become a large MNC. But at the same time, it benefits the whole ecosystem. And one thing that is lacking, which I request people who are from the larger player here, especially Samsung, and the larger player is like, can we set up the chip and the component making, module making industry in India? I think that is where we still rely on China majorly, and to other countries like Taiwan, Japan. So can there be an ecosystem which can make the right modules within the country and make India really self-reliant on the manufacturing side of electronics product as well? So with that, I will also close and invite everyone here to my booth. It's A4331, right in front of Conference Hall B. We have a lot of our products and demo there, along with our virtual reality product as well that will show you our plants. So thank you, Dr. Rishi. Thank you. Sorry.
Thanks, Vinay. It was interesting to know. And what you can see, the 100 plus year old IC industry using connected cars and connected technology. Now the whole electric vehicle industry, which is having lesser components in comparison to the IC ones, is also going to use the whole IoT and the electronics to stay connected, whether it's battery management or the controller management or the whole vehicle. Now I go to this side then. Now Sanjay, if you can throw some light on the lighting systems and the work which you are doing.
Yeah, thanks, Rishi. Thank you very much. I am Sanjay. I am from the lighting industry. And trust me, I'll not be talking anything on the technology side per se. Rather, being a lighting industry, it cuts across all the lives. And I have worked from last 25 years into industries like refrigeration, air conditioning, lighting, as well as the elevator, where the user experience has been the key driving fact to do all kind of experiments and developments. Rishi has given me an idea to just take a step backwards and give in a brief, or just to make you realize what happened in the lighting industry. All of us have used the normal bulbs, incandescent lamps in our homes. That technology was evolved and stayed for more than 158 years. So because Rishi was talking about evolution, development, revolutions, so lighting industry that way till 2010 was pretty sluggish. 158 years, one light source stayed, and the marginal improvement on the efficiencies in 180 years is just 12%. Then from bulb to normally termed as a tube light or the fluorescent lamps took around 28 years. We started using fluorescent lamps, and then from fluorescent lamps to LEDs, it took around 16 years. The induction of LED has changed the complete lighting industry, and LED has been growing efficacies typically, input by output in the common terms, has been increasing drastically. With the LED being a semiconductor light source, it has opened enormous doors to experiment, try use of technologies and making the lives better. So this was related with the evolution of the lighting industry. Why lighting industry plays a very important role when it comes to the practicing IoTs and implementing the newer and better ideas. In any outdoor or indoor, various points of capturing data has become very, very important fact. In an exterior environment, all cities, be it a smart city or non-smart city, lighting has always been there. So anything which needs to be implemented, which requires a fixed infrastructure with the power, street lights have been there from ages. And before IoT, a lot of efforts, a lot of technology have been tried to conserve the electricity and the street lighting application. A lot of efforts to make user friendliness by way of dimming, etc., have been happening without IoT also. With the introduction of IoT, the possibilities of experimenting, collecting data, developing a algorithm which can predict the user behavior patterns and align the whole ecosystem to control or make the users feel free in a city is developed very fast. So this was one of the application where the early adapters of the IoT application was the street lighting solutions. And it doesn't require a new infrastructure to be laid, it's already there. Most of the municipalities are having the street lights as an asset, capitalize, and the cost center to them. Now with the IoT possibility, IoT technology, with the 5G coming in, requiring a lot of fixed infrastructure points, those are clubbed with the IoT systems are becoming the revenue generation points. It has already started in the Western Europe and Australia. It's a few months or a year in India which will happen. And whole lighting industry is gearing, in India we are geared up to do that. So that was one of the application. And many new things which are happening with the IoT technology, like lighting being used as a therapy. All of us have been suffering with some kind of pain, headaches, etc., etc. The simplest solution is to take a painkiller, keep on taking painkillers, keep on injecting toxins in your body, becoming sick very easy and become vulnerable to attack by most of the diseases. So lighting has emerged as one of the tool to give temporary or permanent relief in some kind of problems. You know, if somebody is having headache or even the healing, somebody gets operated and got admitted to the hospital, a specific radiation in the calibrated manner to specific frequencies in the administered way has been helping to heal faster, to feel better in those kind of radiations. So typically, when we go to doctor, we tell what we are feeling, what has been happening to our body. Then doctor, with all his wisdom and knowledge, make a decision and prescribe something which may go wrong, which most of the time it is right, but sometimes it's wrong. It takes more time, it takes more medication, it takes change of the medication, and we inject more toxins in our body. So in many applications, this lighting has been helping in Nordic regions where the natural circadian has been missing for more than 6 months or for the whole year in few regions. Lighting has been playing a lot of role to bring it into the natural body rhythm. And with the IoT technology, because here it's more relevant with the IoT, is some sort of wearable, some sort of sensors which is attached to the human body. When you go to doctors, already providing a lot of data for a doctor to make a right diagnosis. Even if it is network system, people are doing this experiment in the lighting industry along with the medical industry. If it is well-designed algorithm, then the system itself makes some recommendation to doctor, and with his knowledge of the medicals, doctor makes a prescription which almost right in most of the places. This is one of the applications which is emerging globally. The industry is preparing, the medical industry is collaborating a lot with the lighting industry to implement it. One more interesting field, see, I have promised Rishi, I will not be talking on technology. I'll be just talking on the application, right? So one more interesting field is in agriculture. A fashion, I will put it really that harsh as a fashion, is on the organic food. Why organic food? Because we have been eating pesticides, we have been eating fertilizers, which is not designed for our human body. Why we have been eating? If we intend to eat some fruit instead of carbohydrates to make our body healthy, and the fruits are doped heavily with the artificial pesticides, etc., we are eating indirectly and making ourselves really not healthy. So the challenge in the in whole farming industry have been how they can grow the plants, how they can increase the production of the harvest without using a lot of pesticides and insecticides. So lighting again, there has been, you might have heard, many of you might have heard something called as a grow light. Grow light is nothing but a specially designed lighting system which helps plants at different stage of their growth by radiating again the certain or the full spectrum in the very calibrated manner, which helps plants to become healthier, grow faster, and be more productive. So these experiments have been there. There are certain many installations across globe. With the IoT, again, with the edge devices implemented through IoT, large farms are generating a lot of data at a centralized system, which system is controlling without human intervention in an automatic manner, so that the production, the crop yield, etc., have been growing. And it's not only production, it's the quality of crop which is also growing. And without pesticides, without fertilizers, so whatever crop is there is almost organic. So these are the few things. And the challenges also, we have a lot of challenges, again, the technology related challenges and the user experience related challenges. We are in India, and a lot of generation is still are willing to use smartphones and a lot of apps. But even my grandmother wants a mobile phone where she can just press one button and dial, and she can get connected with the grandson. A lot of elderly population, a lot of rural population is not geared up even to handle a normal Android device. So the challenge in front of us is developing a user interface, even if we talk about agriculture or medical or any sort of application, how we can develop a user interface which is very easy to operate, which is very accurate to predict, which is correct in data capturing, which can put a right analysis of data at a lowest cost in the shortest time. And therefore, as a lighting industry, we got to collaborate a lot with the other industries. We are not software experts, so we got to work a lot with the software companies who can understand the need of the lighting industry and who can develop the systems and the procedures so that it is implemented easily. And one thing which we realized in our offering, we offer the solutions, the comprehensive solution to the smart cities as well. The challenges and the problem statements of different cities are entirely different. A traffic related algorithm which works fantastically well in Amritsar may be a total disaster when it comes to the city of Bangalore. Similarly, a weather station database program which works beautiful in a Mathiran or in a Pune may not be appropriate in Jammu. So customization in the whole offering. I mean, data can be captured with the standard devices, but the algorithms, the programs, the interface is very, very different for the different users. And then again, as a lighting industry, we got to work very closely with other industries. And I think it's a very important that instead of a one industry like lighting or healthcare or battery per se, work in isolation, developing everything on their own, there has to be a platform where we can pool in the resources, where we can pool in the knowledge, we can challenge, we can address the challenge together collectively, and we deliver the product solutions which is very appropriate, accurate, and cost effective to the users. So I think I took full 5 minutes, Rishi?
Slightly more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
That's what I
Sanjay.
wanted
Thank
to
you
say.
very much. It was nice hearing from you. You know, some of the key inputs which I like to repeat were the new business models. You know, commercializing the pole and seeing how can you get more out of the assets you already have. And one system doesn't fit all.
Yeah.
You know, and so many things it's just to learn. And lights being used as a medicine or in agriculture, and how their productivity has been improved. It's a good learning. I'm sure, you know, it will be something which people will remember. Now I request Mukesh to speak about especially the healthcare and enlighten us.
Yeah, hello everyone. I am Mukesh. In fact, we are the official digital signage partner. So whatever you're seeing in the screen and outside, it is provided by us. But again, this screen is a part of IoT system, because to run the content, to disseminate the information, you are using the content management system. So all these things are basically IoT based devices. Coming back to my expertise on the healthcare, the moment you enter this conference, the first thing you are going to encounter about thermometer. So it's a digital thermometer. Again, it is another IoT devices. With this thermometer, with IoT, if you connect it there, you can have the temperature of individual, temperature of the group, and you can analyze with a smart IoT devices, you can analyze the group temperature, individual temperature, and based on that, you can take many decision can be possible. So these are the small examples. So whether we are knowing and not knowing, we are using one and another devices of IoT or AI or machine learning. These are the buzzword, but we are using every day. So we have no other option. We need to start understanding and learning more and more. Coming back to about healthcare, particularly when you are in the era, still it is in the era of COVID-19 situation. Biggest challenge is about healthcare, right? When everything is shut down, you are looking forward for some health treatment. Sometime, okay, if you are suffering from the COVID-19, you need to get admitted in the hospital. But many people who was not COVID-19, but they need a regular kind of medical treatment, like senior citizen or life-saving treatment already going on there. So particularly in last 2 years, you have seen that not only the virtual offices, virtual conferences, we have now virtual hospitals, and it's already existing. It's already existing in many countries. UAE is one of the example, UK in one of the examples. So you can treat your patient through the distance when you have such kind of devices like wearable watch. We have wrist kind of band is there. You have a smart contact lenses. You have a smart spectacles. Through that, you can able to measure the temperature of the body. You can able to see the variation in the heart rate, pulse rate. All these things are possible. So everything is getting smarter and smarter. So this is just one example. So we have moved beyond telemedicine. It is now the virtual hospital. And I truly believe this is going to change the world, particularly the country like India, where healthcare is, we have just bare minimum. Believe me, it is just bare minimum. You don't have money to build the infrastructure, even the hospital. But when you have the technology, you through this virtual things there, you can able to access the healthcare. So this is the great things are happening. Another example I would give you, like we say that India is a capital of diabetic, right? And diabetic is very complex healthcare situation. Many times to check your what is your level of glucose, every time you pricking your finger and checking the things there. But now there is a device available which automatically depend upon the level of glucose. It can push the insulin in your body. So it is automated now. So you have a very sound sleep. You will not get all of a sudden some such kind of surprise and attack. Many things are happening. So healthcare is definitely quite promising as far this IoT is concerned. Many other things you have seen this in lighting industry. I think Sanjay has already talked about a lot. But particularly LED screen, when we talk about, they are not just it's just information. It is now integral part of any commercial or even large residential project, because you want to pass the information, you want to disseminate the information quickly and other things. So LED screen with a CMS system, it is one of the another great example of how this IoT is affecting your life day in, day out. So this, I would like to stop here, but of course, any question later on.
Thank you, Mukesh. So, before I go to Sridhar, the idea behind is whether it's lightning, whether it can be agriculture, whether it can be health, whether it's manufacturing, auto, and just now we heard about the healthcare industry. Everywhere the IoT or the digitalization is impacting and it's having a positive change. Before I ask Sridhar to talk about his area, I just want to share another research that has happened, and I'm sure Mukesh will be a bit surprised. There is a company called Singularity University in San Jose. okay, California. What they have been able to do is to see the sweat of a human, and all the kind of paramedical tests can be captured to 99.99% accuracy. Imagine there will be no need to prick and get the blood out,
Correct.
and through your sweat, you will be done. And I just want to relate. I was talking to somebody in BHU, and I was discussing. If you all have remembered Ramayana or Ramayana, so when Hanuman went to Ahiravan's place, he found his own son, Makardhwaj. And he asked Makardhwaj, how can you be my son? I'm not married. I never had kids. Makardhwaj said, your sweat fell into a crocodile, and that's how I was born. And today we have a technology by which from sweat you can see all your paramedical tests. So the future, our science in past was much more advanced, and we must have been able to do many things. So Sridhar, over to you. Enlighten us from what you are doing and how you are revolutionizing the industry.
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, today I am working in this battery industry from past 8 years. But from after 2014, we had announced that 100 smart cities. So we had seen many developments in the IoT industry. And after that, we had seen from our customers that they are finding the problem in selecting the right batteries. Initially, they used to design the devices, but later they found that the batteries which they are looking for, that is not available in the market. The size, the capacities and all. So what we are doing, we are supporting IoT companies. We are supporting more than 150 IoT companies in providing battery solution in designing their systems. Likewise, we have provided solutions for many devices like parking sensors. If you will see here in Connaught Palace and Palika Bazaar, there are many parking sensors have been installed. So that parking sensors have been installed with our batteries, which is working in all the temperatures. Like it is working from minus 60 to plus 85 degrees Celsius in the rainy season, in the summer, in all the seasons it is working fine, and it is giving the life up to 5 years without recharging. So we have many applications like where people are facing the problem. They were initially using the rechargeable batteries, but when we talk about the IoT is not confined to the cities where hardwired power is possible. IoT is everywhere. If you go to the desert, if you go to the sea, ocean, everywhere you can find the IoT devices. So, but hardwired connections are not possible everywhere. So we have some batteries. So initially people were using lithium-ion batteries. And what they were doing, they were going and replacing lithium-ion batteries every 1 month or 2 months. So it is increasing the cost, manpower cost. Sending one person in remote location like Rajasthan in the another remote areas of India. So it was increasing the cost for them, for the changing the batteries, looking for the battery maintenance and all. So now we have the batteries in a small packet. We have batteries which is providing a very big power. Likewise, we have one torch cell we used to get, the D-size battery. In that we are getting 3.6 volt, 19 Ah capacity, which is, it is less than when we are going for lithium-ion batteries, it will be very high in density. But when we talk about our battery, it will be very less in density. So it will be portable. It will be having more power. It is generating high pulses. Likewise, when we talk about the IoT, we have many applications: NB-IoT, LoRa, Low-N, GSM, GPRS, and these all are working on different pulse current and continuous currents. So we have the batteries. We have another solutions. Combining with the batteries, we have capacitors, other electronic solutions which is providing the high pulses, and they are powering the IoT devices remotely. I will share some case studies. We are closely working with one smart meter company, smart water meter manufacturing company, and that company is based in Europe. So initially, the battery they were using, it was giving them the power, but after 1 year, they found there is a voltage drop. When they are trying to send the data, the voltage is dropping. So we provided them our solution, and they are using our solution from past 3 years, and they are happy with that. And I had been to USA, I had been to Europe, I had been to other Asian countries, and all the places we had faced the same problem. People when these IoT devices, people are facing the problem with the batteries. They are not able to get the right solution, battery solution for their devices. So they have to go, like when we are going to install some device in cities or homes, there we can go with the lithium ion batteries, which is rechargeable batteries. But when we are going for remote locations, we have to go for the non-rechargeable batteries. So we have that solutions. And apart from this, we have one more, that is latching relay. We can remotely switch it on and switch it off. So one application of latching relay is smart electricity meters. So when we talk about before 10 years, we had traditional electricity meters at our homes, where people used to come and they used to record how much consumption of electricity you had done. And after that, what they used to go to tell the electricity company that if my consumption is 380.50 units, they will tell, okay, 380 units. So it is a loss for the company, electricity company. 0.50 is the loss, 0.50 unit is the loss for the company. Now we have the remotely, we have relays, and based on the GSM, NB-IoT, LoRaWAN, and many devices are connected to the smart meters. So in the when we see in the COVID era, people were not coming to our home and they were not able to take the reading. But now, sitting at one place, at the utility place, we can take the readings. Same way we have the smart water meters, smart gas meters, we can take the readings remotely. Yeah. So there are many applications in IoT where we can take the data remotely. We have the data loggers installed in remote locations, like if you say in the Rajasthan, we have some devices which is installed in the oceans, like we talk about the drifter buoys. What we do, drifter buoys, we send into the sea. We throw it to the sea for 2 years, 5 years, and it sends the data. What is the humidity, the temperature, the water level, and everything from the sea they capture and they send it to the handheld station. So there are multiple devices where hardwire connections are not possible. So our batteries are working in that conditions. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sridhar. Just to repeat, what Sridhar has just said. When you think about an IoT solution, there are multiple kind of challenges which we face. And around 10 years back, I was working on the smart parking, and the biggest challenge was where to put the sensor, what is the life of the sensors, how many time operationally I'll have to go and change the battery so that the sensor is live. And the operational cost was too high for us to keep on sending a person to get the battery replaced, that the solution was never feasible, return on investment perspective. Now we have such kind of solutions available, and these Sridhar and his organization has been able to work on such kind of solution that you can put a device in ocean for years and you can keep on getting data. So forget about a parking slot. Okay. You have devices which is going to be put into the ocean for years and you can keep on getting the data. And that's the level of technology enhancement that has been able to achieve. So from the sensors to the battery to the sensors to the connectivity level and to the kind of platform where the AI and machine learning can be utilized to come out with the huge amount of analytics which you can use in your correct decision makings. Now, while one of the theme of this session was to give you an idea of how IoT is moving into different directions. So we have covered automotive, manufacturing, the large scale of industries in Samsung, healthcare, lighting, and the kind of battery solutions which you have been able to give. Now, in today's pandemic time, the education, my daughters study remotely. So all the schools and everything is happening offline and the digital technologies are being used for more or less everything which is required because now the school is from home. Now, Mukesh was talking about hospitals at home, home care. Now the schools are at home, the offices are at home and everything is at home. And it's only because of technologies that we are able to work. But when there are so many connected devices, it is also resulting into certain challenges. And one of the challenges is the data security. And I like to come back to Alok, if he can talk and give something about, the data security part and how, the organization like Samsung or in the country, things are moving as per the data security is concerned. Yes. Alok,
Okay,
yeah.
great. Very good to hear everybody, and a lot of interesting examples, as you said. And I was just, when I was listening to Sanjay, one interesting point. Somebody asked me, how does 5G and IoT intersect? And I was telling them that, it is on the street light. That's where the intersection happens. And when I was hearing, it was very interesting. Yeah, coming to your question of data security. Um, First of all, IoT is about a lot of data. I told about our smart things itself, where we have 150 million devices connected. The important things is, first of all, two kinds of things. One is a privacy, and the other is a security part of it. Security, we have been following different standards and IoT standards. I champion Open Connectivity Foundation, which is great for smart home building, and even for India standard, where 1 M2M has been adopted for smart city, but still for home and building, we are using this. So they have multiple layers, and the standards automatically adopt to those different data security protocols. But the other part of it is the privacy, and who do you share data, how do you share data. So this is where we have structured in our way, and typically what are the PIIs, the personally identifiable information. And we found about close to 20 of them are very, very important, which you shouldn't be sharing. And when I say 20, when you look into different countries, by some countries, certain things are permissible, but some other countries are very sensitive. So we have been looking into those different, whether California rules or Korean rules and India data policy, and trying to make sure that can we make a common framework and make the PII informations and handle them differently, like the GDPR, and delete them, and all the services, microservices that are in the cloud that pertains to that data, they should be able to notify. So how do you make that process? Definitions are there. Questions are twofold. How do you architect your data platform so that you can operate in multi-countries in a very smooth fashion? And the other is, when this command comes, you have to do it, your intent is there, but are you implementing in a full-fledged manner, or are you by chance skipping some parts of it? This is one important problem that we have been solving. The second part of it is very important because, for example, in smart home, I have Smart Things platform, but the video surveillance maybe is offered by somebody. The security service at home is by another company, and I have to partner with them. And I talked about smart building and parking. So you can't just give a service only for your own premise, but you need to expand. And therefore, there has to be a data sharing. And this is where the trick things come. Now, initially, we started with few known partners, and you can have all kinds of NDA and other agreements and consent taking everybody is doing. But I think one of the important thing is the blockchain. It's not widely adopted, but in principles, elements of that could be taken, and immutability or a traceability and things like that, in principle, could be absorbed in data sharing model. That what did I give it to who, when, what was the timestamp, and in case any problem comes, then we are able to address from there. So at that point, I will stop it here. So PII informations, the GDPR policies, the blockchain kind of technology which you could use for data sharing. And initially, we assumed more like I trust the other party, and therefore we sign by different methods.
Yeah.
But I think the way system is evolving is a bit more have a zero trust. Anybody can join in. Like, for example, in healthcare, if you have a loyalty program, you can partner with anyone, provided you have a traceability mechanisms and verifications audit mechanisms.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alok. Just to add on what Alok just said, when you think about Internet of Things at a device level, at a connectivity level, at an IoT IT platform level, every area become vulnerable, and you add more insecurity or data breach into it. We have data security, device security, connectivity security, network security, or the IT security. But when they all work together, how to ensure that the whole solution is secure? And that becomes a much bigger issue and challenge in case of IoT. And there are a number of things which are coming. As Alok also mentioned about GDPR, it's a rule that is happening in Europe and UK for data protection. On a similar line, there was a Sri Krishna committee that was formed in Government of India, which has come out with their report in 2018. We are expecting a new regulation in India for the data security, especially for the IoT perspective. And that will lead as a overall guidelines for how those security and the privacy can be managed. Now I have, say, 10 more minutes. If there is any audience question, we'll be happy to take it. Otherwise, I'll ask everybody for a 1 minute, one-liner end statement, and then we'll close. Any question from the audience? Yeah.
So we have very little talked about IoT in manufacturing and industrial IoT in this discussion, right? So at what stage in India IoT in the manufacturing is there? What are the upcoming things happening? Maybe if you want to touch upon that.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, but let me take that answer. Okay. If anybody wants to add, then I'll be more than happy. So, I'll try to categorize the overall manufacturing industries into two parts. One, the Tatas, Mahindras, and the large corporates which are running their manufacturing plants. And the second group is the micro MSMEs organization. So in the large, and again, I really want to clarify one thing. Industry 4.0 is a term that was given by the Western world. Indian small and medium kind of industry, the MSME, the terminology that India needs for their manufacturing companies is called Samarth. Okay. Samarth Udyog. That's what the Ministry of MSME has come out with, which is similar to Industry 4.0, but it's been changed for what we require. Because our MSMEs are much different from what is happening in Germany or Japan. So that's one thing. If you really like to get into more details of it, you please go to the website for the Samarth Udyog from the MSME, Ministry of MSME. That's one part. The second is, if you think about the Mahindras or the Tatas and others, they have their own ways. The Chakan plant of Mahindras I have personally seen is one of the best possible industrialized automatic digital plant which I have seen. But have they been able to create all of their factories into digital? The answer is no. Okay. I have personally written a complete article on manufacturing and IoT in manufacturing. There are 4 M's for manufacturing. The first is called material. Okay. Material, due to the pandemic and before that, where this supply chain management, the material management, the raw material management, the end product management, everything got disturbed. Now we have number of IoT solutions which can handle your supply chain, where your supply is, and where your product is, and how the things will happen. So that is called material. The second one is called man. The people need change. You need to make them learn, and which is the most difficult part, to make people change to the new, adapting new methodologies, new things. The second, but there are processes now, the people change management processes, especially for the digital technologies. The third M is machine. Okay. That machine, you imagine a 100-year-old paper plant or a 80, 90-year-old cement plant. And you think about automating it and remotely monitoring it. Now we have platforms which can move these old legacy hardware machines into a slightly digital. I won't say they're complete digital, but you will be able to remotely monitor them. That will reduce the money required or the capex required to convert your factory from a totally manual one to a digital one. You can do that. And I have a number of case studies where we have already implemented such kind of things. So material, man, machines, and the fourth is method. Okay. The business processes that require changes. In all these 4 categories, the people, we now have IoT and digital solutions. People are using it. There are platforms available. Okay. And there are different kind of connectivity technologies also available. Because you are specifically asked for the manufacturing, I am president of a company called Aeris Communication. It's a 2-decade-old company from Silicon Valley, totally working on IoT. I started this company in India in 2016. And in 2016, we did 100 plus pilots for manufacturing companies in 2016-17 timeframe. And I'm telling you, 0 could move to an actual project. 0. Because we could not convince the return on investment. We could not convince that these kind of technologies can help you in doing what better can be. And I'm not talking about Tatas and Mahindras again. I'm talking about those MSMEs. Okay. Today, after the pandemic, if you think about the things industry, the manufacturing industry, they all got stopped because of the lockdown. There was 0 productivity. Okay. And then they realized what is the return on investment from that pilot which they had done. Today, all those 100 are giving me a call. Not even a single one is not giving me a call. Okay. That's the change that has happened in the country today. That the boards, I am an Indian, I'm in a very raw language. The Lalaji of the company always think about the return. No technology will work if it is not giving you return. Take it. So at that time in 2016, they couldn't calculate the return on investment of investing into a technology. But after this pandemic and the complete lockdown, they all understand what is the use. There is a company which had 2 robots, which they had bought long back just to showcase. But those robots were there to take the raw material out and put into the machine. And they could work during the lockdown. So that investment that was made few years back resulted in during the pandemic. Now the pandemic really, not a good thing to say, but really helped companies like us who have been implementing IoT solution across board to grow much faster. I hope I have been able to answer. If you have further questions, I'll be happy to take it offline. Yeah, please.
I come from electronic manufacturing MSME. We are in the medium segment enterprise. In fact, just to add on to that, like it happened like after the lockdown, one thing was that how will people work? And work from home is not known to manufacturing industry in India. And suddenly they were forced to adopt work from home. And we started like taking rental laptops and realizing that how to support our staff, except this floor staff who can work from home. And then we understood that we have to adopt technology to do it. After they started coming back to work, including laborers, one thing we faced challenge was fingerprinting. Timesheet management is very critical in any manufacturing industry, right? People have to check in and check out. And that's where we started exploring IoT to say that, can we do touchless attendance? And we replaced fingerprint reader in my own plant, which I manage, with BLE-based touchless solution, which can be used by the labor to sign in and sign out. A very low-hanging fruit, a very simple solution, cost-effective, quickly ROI friendly, can be done. And at the same time, since we were evaluating some other technology, we adopted a store solution where we can monitor the movement of goods in and out of the store, inward and outward clearing, using a combination of camera and human being together, and reduce the dependence on manual people. So that, because it was not possible to have 100% people on the shop floor, and we were still able to manage 30% with 30% people and run the factory. And I think IoT helped a lot, and some other adoption that happened in the last 1 year, I would say, is that it really speeded up the adoption of technology. And thanks to that, somewhere pandemic has helped in a certain way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So any other question? Otherwise, we'll end. Yeah. So thank you very much, all the co-panelists. I'm really, really thankful to all of you to be a patient listeners. I hope you might have taken something which you will remember and will be able to utilize in your industries. You know, one thing as I end, I must say that, you know, there are 3 things which we must realize. While the technology is changing and technology is combining, there are 3 more parameters which we need to start thinking about. The parameter 1, it has increased the productivity to the nth level, whatever it is. The second, it has changed the business models. And the third, it is changing the society. And when these three things happens together, then it is called a revolution. Okay. So we are into the third revolution because whether it's a business model, whether it's a productivity because of technology or the society, all three things are changing. Thank you very much. Hope to see you soon again. And really thankful for your patient listening.
Thank you, everybody. Before we close the session, I would request our moderator, Dr. Rishi Bhatnagar, who is the President Aeris, to give away mementos to our speakers. It is Mr. Vinay Solanki, Head of Digital Solutions and GM, Napino Auto and Electronics. Thank you, Mr. Solanki, for your presence. Mr. Sridhar Pandey, MD, Alikorev, Ramway India Private Limited. Mr. Mukesh Sinha, Managing Partner, Innovative Infratech Solutions Private Limited. And Mr. Sanjay Tiwari, GM, Ligman Lighting and Company Limited. There is one more for Alok Nath, only he is not here. So anyway, thank you so much. Thank you all the speakers.